G'day guys, a very excited Will here today because today is the day we get to install our Simucube 2 Ultimate onto the sim racing rig and take it for the first drive. So the focus of this video is going to be, quickly skimming through the installation. I'm going to give you a look at the HRS mount that I'm going to be using as well because that is pretty cool. We'll get it installed onto the rig. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of detail about that because it's pretty boring, to be honest. It's just a couple of bolts and it goes on. And then we're going to be going for our first drive. So I'm not going to be focusing on the software and calibration and all that sort of stuff in this video. I really want to do that justice because I know that that's something that a lot of you guys are wondering about in a lot of detail and how it compares to other platforms and things like that. So I really want to spend a bit of time with this thing first and then come back and do a proper review of all of that later on. So the focus of this is going to be very much sort of a first experience, first drive, holy shit factor, I guess. I've never used a direct drive wheelbase before in my life other than, at arcades and stuff like that. And you never really know what's inside those machines. So this is going to be very much a raw first experience type video. So yeah, hopefully it ends up being entertaining, but let's get started by installing the wheelbase onto the HRS mount. I'll show you that in a little bit of detail first, and then we can get to driving. All right, so let's start off by having a quick look at the HRS mount that I have here. Now this is available from Hybrid Racing Simulations, and yeah, really, really nice piece of kit here. Very thankful to them for sending this out to me to test out. So you can see on the sides here, it's got a bunch of adjustments here. You can set it to the bottom here so it sits completely flat and flush. And then on the higher point here, you've got a pivot on the back, and then you can adjust all the way from -15 degrees up to +25 degrees. So a huge scope of adjustment there. Perfect for anybody who's got a platform style cockpit that doesn't have any pitch adjustment on it. Now mine does have pitch adjustment, so I've just sort of set it flat. Now we did have to drill a couple of new holes in the GT Tracks platform to make this fit. The rear holes kind of lined up, but they weren't quite big enough. I think they're designed for an M6 bolt, whereas these are M8 bolts that come with this. So we had to make those holes a little bit bigger. And then the front holes we had to create from scratch. So I lined everything up, drilled the holes, no problems there whatsoever, and yeah, it should be pretty straightforward to install. So what we want to do is sit our Simucube 2 up like that, and then this basically just sits on there. You can see there's a bit of a notch on the front here, which fits in perfectly with the notch on here. So there's no play there whatsoever. Slides on, and I'll give you a look at what it looks like from the front once we're installed. But that all sits in place, sits on there like that. And yeah, you can see it spins around, but it doesn't move forward or back at all. So it's completely locked in place. All right, so it comes supplied with 4 bolts with these beautiful little standoffs as well, anodized aluminium once again. Those are gonna go through the bottom there to install on the cockpit. And then 4 more bolts here as well with some crush washers and nuts, which we'll open up now. So we also have a little sachet of Loctite in here as well. Now I'm not going to use that for now simply because there's a good chance I'm going to be moving this onto a different cockpit before too long, and I don't want to make it any more difficult to get off here and risk, slipping and damaging something or something like that. So I'm going to leave the Loctite off for now. Obviously, if I do feel that there's any play in there, I'll come back and let you know that you definitely need to put this on. But with the crush washers and everything, I think we should be pretty safe. So all we do here, drop the bolt through the front, washer goes on the back, nut goes on the bottom, ×4, simple as that. So we'll get that done in fast forward now, and then we'll move on to installing it onto the cockpit.
Okay, so we're all plugged in and ready to go on the cockpit here. I'm actually feeling kind of anxious about this. I've built up so much anticipation in my mind about how amazing this is going to be. I'm almost like setting myself up for disappointment kind of thing. But anyway, let's get the wheel installed first. I'll switch on the little switch on the back here and drop it onto the hub. I don't want to scratch anything. I'm just being so careful not to scratch anything here. Slide the quick release pin through, put it up on its side here. All right, that goes through, and yeah, absolutely no play in that whatsoever, which is what we expected. All right, so we've got our Simucube software installed, and I'll switch across to that screen in just a moment, but we'll switch on the hub first. Oh, we got power there. Okay. So we'll switch on the power here as well. Oh, we've got a little chirp through the motor. That's a good start. Okay, let's get the True Drive software running here. So, all right, so it's presented us with a firmware update wizard immediately. It says firmware must be updated. Firmware must be updated. Reason: too old version for the firmware was detected for this version of True Drive. Okay, so we run through the reflash process. If you do not want to install the firmware update, please exit by clicking cancel. Simucube True Drive will close upon exiting. By clicking next to Simucube, we'll enter firmware upgrade mode. To use the Simucube after entering firmware mode, you need to either finish the update process or power cycle the Simucube. All right, let's do the flash process first here. So we click next. Should go into some sort of a firmware updating mode. Searching for Simucube in firmware upgrade mode. This should take up to 30 seconds. Okay. Good. Firmware found Simucube in firmware upgrade mode. Press next to continue. Okay, so it's obviously gone into bootloader or firmware upgrade mode. So hit next. So far, so good. Everything is very wizard-like and straightforward. Press next to start the update process. Bam. Updating firmware, unlocking and erasing program. I think this is probably the most expensive thing I've ever flashed in my life. A couple of cameras I've done firmware upgrades on in the past have been kind of expensive, but yeah, $4,000 thing that we don't want to brick. So sending all the data now anyway. No problem so far. Now, if you're wondering, I am connected directly to my PC with the wheelbase. I'm not running it through a hub or anything like that. I wanted to set everything up exactly the way they suggest you do. Obviously, we don't want to have any problems, and I would definitely, even if you normally run it through a USB hub or something like that, I would definitely say if you're doing a firmware update, plug it into your PC. You do not want to take that risk. Okay, Simucube firmware update is now successfully complete. Simucube should be booting up with the new firmware. When you click finish, the Simucube True Drive will close. Okay, finish, and it closed. All right, so we should be rebooted now with the new firmware. So let's, oh, there we go. We just had another little chime through the wheel. So that's a good sign. Open up True Drive again. Okay, give it a moment to connect itself. Operational, there we go. Okay, so we've got a dodgy wheel here that's showing on the screen, which isn't the wheel that we've got connected. I'm not sure if it's actually detected the wheel yet or not, but as I said, like I'm going to go into all the detail on this once we're fully set up and I've actually got some experience with it. This is just very much a noob's first attempt at trying all of this stuff out to see how it goes. So, operating mode, operational, active profile, read-only, safe profile, e-stop is released, which we know. We turned off our e-stop. High torque mode is disabled at the moment. I might leave that disabled just for the time being. And we need to calibrate our center first of all. So let's get that centered directly. That's in the middle there. Reset center. So just set the wheel center here for now. This will not change your automatic center offset preferences. Pressing the above button will only affect this session. Okay, noted. And automatic settings via the configure, motor, encoder, and centering wizard will be restored at power up. Okay, so we'll just we probably actually want to set a permanent wheel center, I think, because, yeah, don't want that to be wrong. There we go. Okay, so that's jumped into the right position now. So that all looks good. It's definitely detecting everything. All right, and we'll get all this set up properly. I'm not going to cover it all in this video. I'll get it all set up properly later on and do a proper review of the software. But let's click through the tabs here. Scan for new devices. So this would be the wheel. So we might need to switch this off and back on again, just to get it to go into pairing mode again. There's a button combination you can press as well to put the iRacing wheel into pairing mode. There we go. Showed up straight away, iRacing. Couldn't remember what the button configuration was or the button combination to press. I think it might be the 2 joysticks or something like that, but we'll come back later on. So connect to detected device. There we go, another chime. Okay, and we're connected. So it says connection here, 3.55 volts for the battery. So battery's full, that's good. And we can see here it says connected iRacing F28, battery is 3.54 volts and connection is 7465. Now if we spin it around, does it change? 100. So it depends on the position of the little antenna there relative to the motor, but because we don't have a big plate in front or steel or anything like that, it's not really interfering too much. So you can see there, we're not going below about 70% connection strength there at all. 100%, 97%. So that all looks pretty good. Now, Martin from iRacing actually did send me a little image to update this. So we'll be updating that shortly as well. I'll have that all sorted out for the next video, obviously. Enable high torque mode, should we? Yeah, let's do it. By activating high torque mode, you agree and confirm that you understand the wheel attached to the device and the Simucube quick release itself can produce high torque, which might cause injury. You understand that you are responsible for turning off the high torque mode when you leave the simulator. You understand that you are responsible for making sure that children, pets, and uninformed people are not to approach the simulator while high torque mode is activated. You take full responsibility for safe operation of the simulator. Yes, we do. Drag the scroll bar to the right to confirm that you agree to the above clauses and that you want to activate high torque mode. Okay, we'll do that. Activate high torque mode. Bam. Okay. Death mode enabled. Okay, so we'll cover the rest of the software in a lot more detail once I've had a chance to get my head around it properly. I don't want to take you through it all now because I don't really understand it fully myself, and I'll probably end up making a bunch of mistakes and saying a bunch of stupid stuff. So let's jump into the car now. We're going to start off in iRacing around Mount Panorama in the AMG GT3. Now, I've had a good chat with a couple of guys who know a lot about these wheelbases already. Brett from HRS, as well as Troy as well. And both of those guys have suggested that I start off with iRacing. Apparently, the out-of-the-box default profile that comes for iRacing is really quite good. And there's only a little bit of fine-tuning that kind of needs to be done from there. And obviously, being a first drive video, we don't want to be, you know, having to adjust things and jump in and out, and we want the first experience to be as good as it can be, and then, you know, fine tune from there. So they've suggested iRacing first, so that's what we're going to do. And we'll test out a couple of other titles as well after iRacing, depending on how we go. So we'll get all kitted up. Now, the AMG GTR, well, GT3 rather, I haven't driven this car for a long time. The last time I drove it was actually when we started doing that husband versus wife challenge thing a while back, and she ended up injuring her thumb and wasn't able to drive the sim anymore, but hopefully we're going to be getting back into that very soon. But anyway, see what we can do around. I've never driven the car at all around this track, I don't think, so yeah, see what happens. Get things fired up here. Okay. Well, it feels nice and weighty right now. I mean, even just before we even move here, it feels like a real car. I mean, honestly, it's the amount of weight, the amount of resistance and friction that you feel feels just like a real car. You can see on the screen as I turn, the weight of the car sort of lifts up. As the wheels turn, it lifts up that side of the car. And you actually kind of feel, even through the wheel, like you're lifting the weight of the car as you go. But anyway, you guys just want to see some driving, I'm sure. So let's head out on the track here. Try not to stall it. There we go. That's a good start. All right. Hammer it down the straight here and see what happens when we reach a corner. Okay. Oh man, just the texture over the... Whoa! The texture that you feel over the bumps, that's... Wow! That is crazy. Just any shred of roboticness to the feeling is just completely gone. That is something else. Whoa, don't crash. Crashed already. We'll try again, but yeah, that's just the weight of the car and the smoothness of it. Like, there's no robotic sort of texture to it at all. There's no sort of flicking and twisting and turning. It's just smooth, and it really honestly feels like driving a real car. Like, it's kind of, I think I've said this before, when you've got gear that really works well together, and I think I talked about it when we had the motion platform, and the fact that I forgot that the motion platform was even there after a few laps, because it just fits so well. It just feels natural. It immerses you into the game or into the sim so much that you just kind of forget that it's there. And this is kind of like that. You forget very quickly that, you know, you're using, you know, I'm trying to focus on the wheel, but I forget so quickly that it's even different because it just feels so good. But let's try to do that again without crashing. when it breaks away a little bit, you feel it through the wheel. It just so smooth though. Like you can correct so easily. There's my crash. Oh, you feel the car get light. That's crazy. How do they do that? You actually feel, when you come over those crests, you feel the weight of the car. I don't even know how that was achieved. Like, it was just, even through here as well, it's just, I think it's the combination of the motion platform and the wheel together, but and there again, like, you genuinely feel the car get light. I don't know, how does that work? You'd think that that'd be impossible without, you know, without G-force, but the combination of the feedback that I'm getting through the wheel on top of the motion platform, just, yeah. Hang on, let's go through here. Oh! Oh, too much power. Back off a bit. All right, let's see if we can get a decent lap now. But yeah, through the chase there, just oh man. I need to spend a lot more time doing this and getting proficient at this car around this track, because this is so much fun. But it's not noisy or anything like that. I'm not getting any sound at all out of it that I can hear. I mean, you guys are probably able to tell more than me with my headphones on, but it's dead quiet. And the weight of the, I mean, I've got it turned down to about probably 25% at the moment, so about 10 Newton meters, which is only 2 more than what the CSW 2.5 that I've been using for the last 10 months has. But the fact that we're nowhere near sort of maximum duty cycle, I guess, for want of a better term, the fidelity that you get is just next level. It's just crazy. Oh. Yeah, there it is again. You really feel the car just get light. That's amazing. Whoa, bit of a twitch. Try to keep it out of the wall. Alright, we'll do one more lap, I think, and then we might try something else. This is too much fun. I could just turn laps of this track all night. And I'm sure that the faster I get, the more consistent I get, the more fun I'm going to have as well. Let's hammer through here again. Oh! Oh, I did it again. Alright, we'll try one more lap. We got a better run this time. Previous best is a 2:10, so sure we can beat that. Oh, when you get a little bit earlier on the throttle, you feel the car bouncing underneath you. It's like, it's not just the traction that you're feeling, it's not just the wheels slipping, it's the actual weight of the car and how it influences the steering as well. It's really, like, it's very difficult to put into words all the things that I'm experiencing, but I just can't imagine anything better than this. Like, where do you go from here, really? I mean, the only thing left now really is just G-force, really, I guess. Alright. You forget that you're driving a sim, you really do. It's genuinely scary when you tip it through the chase there. It's just... Alright. Still way off our best, but man, I'm having so much fun. And I feel like, you know, once I got used to this, once I really sort of started to explore and tweak things around and stuff, I would probably get to the point where I'm a lot faster as well. I feel like the extra detail that I'm getting now, I'm just going to finish one more lap. I got to do one more lap. The extra detail that I'm getting now really, I feel like this is stuff that will actually genuinely make me faster. And I've always kind of said, with all the other gear that I've tested in the last 10 months since I started doing this, I've always felt like, yeah, it adds to the immersion, but it won't necessarily make you faster. But I honestly think with the added fidelity here and just the finesse that you feel in the detail, you're able to correct so much faster than you otherwise would be able to. And I really do think that's going to make me faster and more consistent as well. Whoa! Oh dear. Getting sloppy now. Yeah, I'm sliding all over the place. Probably overheated my tires. Yeah, we're into the wall. Alright, let's stop. Let's give something else a try. I don't want to stop. Don't make me stop. Okay. Let's give Raceroom a try next, I think. Let's try the... we might do the IDR challenge again, I think. We did that yesterday with the CSL Elite, so we may as well give it another try with this wheelbase and see how it compares, see if we can go faster. That is a beautiful looking car. Alright, let's go. So one thing that I do just want to quickly show you here in the software is how you manage the various different profiles. So we can set up profiles for different titles here. You can see I've got iRacing and Raceroom set up, which is the one that I've just set up now to test out Raceroom before we go. So on the Fanatic ecosystem, you have the little funky switch in the menu system here, the tuning menu, where you can actually switch between profiles on the wheel itself. Now, I haven't experimented to see whether you can actually set hotkeys or assign hotkeys to change profiles here. So I can't answer that yet. And again, I will go into more detail on this later on, but I just wanted to show you how the different profiles here work quickly. So you can see here, we set iRacing, and these are all the various different options that we have here. So there's a bunch of stuff that we can adjust, way more, and I've just accidentally adjusted something there, so I need to make sure I don't save, but way more stuff that you can tweak there than you get with the Fanatic ecosystem, at least with the CSW. I don't know about the new software that they're yet to release for the direct drive wheels yet, but we will be having a look at that soon. But yeah, so you switch between your different profiles here. We're gonna select Raceroom, and you can see all the various different options here all change. All right, so Raceroom. Now, I had to spend a bit of time, actually a lot of time, adjusting the settings for the force feedback on the Raceroom side itself. The settings that I had for the default profile in the True Drive software that comes with the Simucube was pretty good. I think that probably could be improved, but that's just fine-tuning to personal taste. But what I was finding out of the box was that there was a lot of notchiness in the steering. And what I mean by that is it kind of would feel like the car was on tracks. The steering would kind of lock in the middle, and then as soon as you tried to steer outside of, you know, having the steering wheel straight, it'd really get quite sort of erratic and jump all over the place, and you'd feel the detail, and it felt quite good, but the steering was constantly trying to sort of snap back into the center, and it felt quite unrealistic. You can see all the skid marks here. I've been crashing trying to test things out. But I've managed to adjust it now to the point where it feels okay, but it's definitely nothing like the level of realism and immersion that I had with iRacing straight out of the box. So it was definitely a good suggestion trying out iRacing first. I feel like you know, this is still an improvement over what I'm used to in leaps and bounds, but it's nowhere near as good as it was in iRacing. Now, the interesting thing is that I've always actually been pretty happy with the force feedback in Raceroom. I always felt like it was kind of one of the better ones. So obviously there's more potential there than I'm realizing, and I'm going to have to spend a lot more time, you know, sort of fine-tuning and adjusting and tweaking things to get it to really dial in. At the moment I'm finding, yeah, there's just this trade-off between detail and notchiness, which I'm struggling to sort of nail down. Now, I did do a bunch of reading on the race department forums as well, and a lot of other people were experiencing similar. And what I found interesting was that, you know, people were sharing their settings, and what one person would sort of say was ideal was the complete opposite of what somebody else would say was ideal. So obviously it really boils down to a lot of personal taste as well. But what I'll do is I'll definitely do a lot more experimentation and come back and let you guys know once I find something that I think feels right. Obviously there's going to be tweaking to do, and I'm going to run off the track here and crash. There's going to be a lot of tweaking to do, both in terms of, I think, you know, the profile on True Drive as well as the profile in Raceroom itself. I'm going to try tweaking Raceroom first, and then we'll come back in and we'll do some fine adjustment in True Drive as well. But yeah, I'm not feeling it like I was in iRacing. It doesn't feel connected, and it feels like it doesn't feel robotic, but it feels like I'm playing a game rather than driving a sim, which is disappointing, especially knowing how good, you know, this sim can feel when it's done right. So definitely need to spend some more time, get it all nailed in, and we'll come back and, you know, obviously this isn't a review, this is a first drive, and I expected to, you know, have this. I expected to have to do some fine tuning to really get it to feel the way I wanted. So it's not disappointing at all in that sense, but I can say that, you know, if this had been the first experience that I had with the wheelbase, I'd kind of be like, hang on, what's going on here? So I'm very glad that I did iRacing first, but I'm sure we'll get there. But anyway, let's see if we can catch up to the Ghost now. I'm sort of starting to get the feel for it now a bit. I'm still feeling like, I mean, the steering still feels really nice, but it's more the lack of detail rather than the, you know, the nicety of the feeling that's missing. I mean, when we run over ripple strips and things like that, it still feels really realistic. It still has that beautiful texture. But yeah, it's just, you know, the texture of the road and things like that I'm really sort of not feeling here. It feels like I'm just sort of floating a bit. It actually feels very similar to the force feedback feeling that I'm used to from Project Cars 2, which I've often sort of complained about. So, and yeah, like even just with understeer, you feel the fact that you're understeering, but you don't have enough detail there at the moment to sort of go, okay, yep, this is how to correct it, and it doesn't sort of just come naturally. It's kind of like, yep, I'm oversteering or understeering. What should I do? But anyway, we'll finish the lap. We'll come around and see if we can get any quicker. Yeah, I mean, like that through there when I hit the rumble strips and everything, it felt really good. Like, I mean, it's still definitely an improvement. There's no question about that. But yeah, I feel like it's definitely got more to give than what I'm realizing right now. That's for sure. I mean, like, I feel kind of bad. Like, I feel like I don't want to actually include this part in the video because it's not doing it justice. But at the same time, you know, I want to give you guys the honest, you know, reality of a first drive experience. And, you know, this is what's going to happen when you plug this in for the first time and you just hit the track and drive. You are going to have to spend some time adjusting things to get it to feel right in Raceroom. So I want to make sure that that's clear. I don't want to sort of just give the impression that I plugged it in and it was just perfect straight away, because that would be, you know, that's not true. And, you know, I really want to be as honest and open and transparent as I possibly can be. So I'm going to include it anyway. Almost at the end of the lap now. But I mean, you remember yesterday, if you watched my CSL Elite review, coming down the straight here, I was kind of, you know, jerking all over the place and really sort of, you know, getting that sense of speed. Whereas right now I feel like I could just, you know, I can let go with one hand. I could probably even let go completely and it just sits there, you know. So that's what's missing at the moment. And again, it's just the adjustments. But, you know, when I crank up those details, then I get the notchiness. So at the moment it's sort of a trade-off between notchy steering or just, you know, too muted and too understated. Oh, brake too late. Oh no, just made it. Actually gained a little bit of time there. So what was it? 2 seconds. 2 seconds off my best, which I feel like, you know, it's pretty good. Anyway, let's jump in and try F1 2019 now. That's going to be really interesting to see what kind of an improvement a wheelbase like this can make over a piece of software that isn't necessarily generally considered to be particularly realistic. So we'll jump in and try that now. Okay, so F1 2019, all I've done is just set my button assignments for everything that I need. And I've made a couple of little adjustments to what I think I'm going to want in terms of force feedback. Remembering that I've got the wheel at the moment running at about 10 to 12 Newton meters, which is about 4 Newton meters more than what we had at 100% force feedback with the CSW 2.5 wheelbase that I ran previously. So I've turned the force feedback up to 100% in the game, and then I've turned it down a little bit in the profile to sort of match what I think should be pretty close to what we had previously. So this is going to be a genuine first drive. I haven't tested this out previously. We'll load our car setup quickly here as well for this track. There we go, Australia. And I have absolutely no idea what to expect here. I've got high hopes. I feel like F1 2019 has been a big improvement over 2018 so far in terms of, you know, everything. So I'm feeling quietly confident here that that I'm going to feel an improvement. Anyway, let's see what we get. So, flying lap. Okay. Okay, that actually feels really nice. Turn the volume up a little bit here. Yeah, that track feels back again. So, whoa. Let's try that again. So yeah, I'm feeling the details in the track kind of similar to what I was with iRacing, to be honest. Not quite to the same extent, but definitely feeling some texture there again. That's really nice. So we'll jump back out. We'll go restart lap here. See if we can do it without crashing. Oh, the other thing I've also adjusted as well is my wheel rotation to match in-game to what I'm actually adjusting here in real life as well. So, because obviously we don't want to be having to turn 900 degrees in a Formula 1 car, but that's the only other thing that I've tweaked. I think we might have a little bit of clipping there. I just heard the wheelbase chime at me. First time I've heard it do that, which I think is a sign of clipping. So, a couple of options. We can turn down the input, or we can turn off the chime altogether. But I think if it's clipping, we definitely want to fix that. So, see how often it does it. It's only done it the once so far. But yeah, you're really feeling the car moving around underneath me. This is really nice. It's a big improvement over the CSW again. Yeah, there's that clipping sound again. Oh, lost it. All right, let's see if we can fix that clipping problem. So we'll go into preferences here and make a couple of adjustments and come back. Okay, so I've made a couple of tweaks. See how it improves it. See if we still get any clipping. That actually feels a lot better now. I'm not going to go through what I changed yet because, again, I want to wait until I do a proper review rather than, you know, show you a bunch of settings where I don't really know what I'm doing. But, yeah, this feels really nice now. And I feel like, again, like this is gonna make me faster. Like, I mean, every wheelbase that I've reviewed before and tried, I've always sort of said, yeah, you know, it feels nice, it adds a bit to the immersion, but don't think it's gonna make you any quicker. But, you know, just with the extra detail that I'm feeling here, I genuinely feel like consistency and speed are gonna be improved. Let's have a listen through here again, see if we get any clipping. Nah. I couldn't hear it through the headphones anyway. I might be making an idiot of myself, but we'll see when we edit. Alright. Let's see what kind of lap time we can do second time around. But yeah, I mean, straight away, like I'm immersed in it. I forget that the wheel exists, and it's just I'm just driving, which is awesome. So I think there's still a little bit of fine tuning I can do. I think the road effects are probably a little bit too strong, and the force feedback's not quite enough. But those are things that I can easily adjust and fine tune. But as a straight out of the box, minor adjustment only kind of scenario, I think this is a pretty good first drive. I could feel the back end of the car sort of skating around underneath me then as I kind of broke a little bit too late into the turn. A bit of oversteer there as well. Managed to feel that and correct that. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling everything that I need to feel. It's really, really good. A little bit late on the brakes there. So what did we do? 123.4. So I think that's pretty respectable for a first attempt. Invalidated the lap here. So yeah, I'm actually really impressed by that. That felt a lot better than I thought it would. I mean, obviously you're not getting the full potential out of the wheel, and I will do a lot more fine tuning here again to dial it all in and see if I can get it feeling even better. Felt a little bit springy in the steering maybe. I might be able to tweak a few settings to get that a little bit better, get a little bit more texture and a little bit more, I guess, what's the word? A little bit more friction in the wheel. There is a specific friction setting in the True Drive software as well, so I'll definitely have a play around with that and come back. But yeah, guys, really happy with the way that felt. All right, so first impressions. I mean, where do you start? It's just absolutely incredible. The iRacing, man. You genuinely feel like you're driving a real car. It's really hard to explain just how amazing it feels. If I can get Raceroom and F1 2019 feeling anywhere near that level, and I mean, just considering that was straight out of the box as well, that was literally as it comes, didn't change a single thing for iRacing, and it felt absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I'll do some more tweaking with F1 and Raceroom. We've also got a GT style wheel on the way as well. Obviously at the moment I've only got the Asher Racing wheel, so I'm sort of limited to Formula cars, but we'll hopefully be receiving the GT wheel tomorrow, so I'll be able to give the MX-5s a try in iRacing. We'll give Dirt Rally a go as well. That's one that I'm really excited to see how that feels. See if I can break my wrists and maybe even my arms. But yeah, look, honestly guys, absolutely stoked with this thing. Really don't know what to say. I'm just absolutely overwhelmed with the experience so far. So really excited to get stuck into it, really do some more fine tuning and come back and review everything. And obviously I will definitely be digging a lot deeper into the software side of things. There's a lot to go through there. But what I want to tell you as I guess, first impressions of the software is that I think that it is very, very good. It's very intuitive, very easy to use. There's a lot of things to change there. And I think it's going to take a lot of time for me to sort of get my head around and really understand what all those little adjustments do. And until I really get my head around that, I'm not going to be able to get the absolute most out of this. And that was pretty much exactly what I expected. You know, the more fine tuning and adjustment you have, the more it takes to really get things nailed down to 100%. And when you compare it with something like the Fanatic ecosystem, where, I mean, obviously their software, their final software for the direct drive wheels isn't out yet, but you're comparing it to something like the Club Sport series, where you kind of just, you get in, you drive, and it feels how it feels, and that's kind of it. Obviously, there's some little adjustments there, but you really don't have the level of fine-tuning that you have with something like this. So it's unfair to sort of say, you know, oh, this takes too much effort to set up or anything like that. Because obviously when you have the fine-tuning and adjustments there that are available to you, you're able to actually spend the time to get things nailed down exactly as the way you like them, as opposed to sort of just being limited to, you know, what you're given. So yeah, I'm really excited to get stuck into this a little bit further. But yeah, honestly, guys, you will not be disappointed with one of these. It is absolutely amazing, and I really do feel like I'm only just scratching the surface. So hopefully you guys have found this first drive video entertaining and somewhat useful. Obviously, I've got a lot more questions than I have answers to right now, but I'm really excited to, you know, dive deeper into all of this stuff, really get involved in it, and you know, really extract the most out of it and come back and do some really detailed reviews for you guys over the next weeks and months. But I'm going to leave it at that for this video, guys. If you do want to pick up one of these wheelbases, one of these wheels, or one of these mounts that you've seen in the video, you can do so using the links in the description below. They're not affiliate links or anything like that. I just really want to, you know, help these guys out because they've been awesome to me in providing this gear, and you know, I'm really thankful for that. So check out those links in the description below. But I'm going to spend some time now fixing up this horrendous cable spaghetti here. I kind of just threw everything in because I wanted to jump in and drive, but I really do need to get this all sorted out. So I will see you guys again soon. Bye.